Hey everybody, I am Sarah Chipperfield and welcome to the Happy, Healthy, and Hot web series where I have experts sharing tips on how to create a life and body you love. Today, my expert is Mary McCarthy and she is going to be talking to us about how to create the life you want every day. Welcome, Mary. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So Mary, I just want to introduce you quickly to everybody. So you are the founder of Create Right Now, and you are also the author of an international best-selling book that we're going to be talking about today called Journaling Power. And it's basically how to create the happy, healthy life you want to live, which couldn't be more perfect and more in alignment with my topic. So I'm so excited to have you on the web series, and let's get started. So can you tell us how you got started with journaling?
Yes, it's probably, well, it's getting near close to 20 years ago, I think it was like 1998. I had an MS, multiple sclerosis, an exacerbation, where I lost feeling on the right side of my body. And I needed a way. I had to have a procedure. I'm very organized, very disciplined, very business oriented. So I had to have a procedure to teach me how to write with my left hand. And synchronistically, I ran into someone who recommended Julia Cameron, who wrote the book, The Artist's Way. And in it, she has a procedure called morning pages. And what you do is first thing every morning, as quickly as you can till the time you wake up and get out of bed, is you write 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing, just about whatever. So, and I thought, okay, that sounds, good and logical to me. And it was very, very fascinating because I found very quickly that it's so much more than just physical therapy. One, I was able to become left-handed very quickly because one of the things in the process of the journaling is that a lot of things from my childhood came up, and I remembered that the nuns at St. Bernard's Grade School changed me. I originally was left-handed, so that's why it became very easy for me to become left-handed because that's what I was. So and then I kept going with the morning pages because it really is therapy. Emotions, memories, thoughts, all kinds of things kept coming up. And I was able through the whole process to really get through, really process the memories and find out that, oh, yes, that's what happened. And, oh, I can see now that as a 7-year-old girl, I would interpret it, personally, shamefully, whatever. So long story short, that's how I got started into journaling.
Wow. What an amazing story. The fact that you, started with it to gain strength and the ability to write left-handed, and then you started actually processing. So how did this affect your life, and did it affect your MS or how you kind of worked through this episode?
It definitely helped me understand and see how much I was living in my head and not in my body. My whole life, the adult life had been with running my own business, or being in some form of business. So I was always running, rushing, and processing and analyzing and doing all those types of things. And it's just, I took care of myself. I was always pretty good into getting exercise and all that type of thing. But I think that the main thing that the journaling taught me first off it's really how much I really blocked myself off from the rest of my body, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Yeah. So is there a right way to journal? Is there a wrong way to journal? And how did you get started? How did you know how to do this?
I really just took the lead from the morning pages. I just find that there's something mystical, magical, wonderful about the journaling process. And I just got into my intuition and just really trusted my gut and just went with the flow. It's just like, and I basically got into a conversation with, well, what about this? And how do I do this? And all that type of thing. And it's just like, I just found by just doing it, as Nike says, that the answers would come up or would lead me where I need to go, or, consider this or whatever. So it's just the only thing as far as a right way to journal is that it to get the most out of it is to make it pen to page every day. How one does it, whether they do it in the morning, in the evening, on the bus, that's totally up to them. As I would say, there's only one right way to journal, and it's your way. And I had the experience too that when I first encountered what I now know to be my inner critic, I just got really, really freaked and really, really scared. So I thought I would go back to just doing my journaling on the keyboard, and it was like totally different. Like nothing was happening. When I had gone so deep and so expansive into by doing it pen to page. That's why my whole thing is just pen to page every day. That's just and then after that, what you want to do, where you want to do it, how you want to do it, that's totally up to you.
And I felt the same way when I first started journaling. I feel like anytime I do it on the computer, I have more of like a perfectionist mindset for thinking about it as a project, as a work email, as something that needs to be free of spelling mistakes, and I go back and I edit. Whereas with writing, there's just something so freeing about writing whatever comes into your mind, rather than trying to edit it so that it would sound good to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really found there to be such a big difference between the two.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, and I think to me, it's a difference between talk. To me, the keyboard is talk therapy. I mean, and you need it, and it's part of the process. But the thing is, we need to get into our heart, soul, and spirit, and the way you do that is pen to page.
Yeah. So can you talk to us about some of the benefits of journaling?
Well, I could probably take a long time. At this point in my career, I've not come across anything it can't help you with, as far as one, reducing stress, because we all carry around all kinds of stress. So that doing that thing, just unleashing and getting the garbage out on the page and out of our bodies, that's one good thing. I've designed and created a lot of ebooks around things such as money, loving your body, all different aspects of living, so that I said, I have not encountered anything that journaling can help you with as far as problem solving, goal setting. And like I said, I have found that with me, since I now see with the journaling, the tie-in that I am a whole person. I am a spiritual and emotional and a physical person. I now see the relationship, and I am basically feeling, I physically and emotionally and spiritually feel that I am healthier now than ever. I just really, I really feel like I'm into the cells of my body. It's just, I like I said, it gets back to what I said earlier, but I just really feel like I'm living in and really understanding what my universe, if you will, is all about. And it's like, oh my goodness. And I'm constantly, and that's another thing about journaling, that it's not only helps you with so many things. Self-discovery is just phenomenal. Every day it's just like, oh, interesting, or I knew that, or remembered that, or whatever. And to me, the benefits are ongoing and long-standing, because you may not have the answer to your problem or your question or whatever at the page at that moment, but it's just like, there's something that it does something with our brain and our process that, you're taking a shower and it's like, oh, that's what that was, or I have an idea for such and such. So I think it's it's a stimulant. It's a real fantastic tool for helping us live our life and create what we want and deal with the challenges, be it whatever level it's on every day.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that it allows us to process our life so honestly, because it's between us and our journal, right? Like, so there's no filtering things to make it sound better. It's just being true and honest, and you almost get to help yourself process things at your own pace.
Definitely.
And you're allowed to bring up things, and you don't have to worry about someone else's opinion of you or what someone else has to say as feedback, or that somebody else would be judging you. It's almost this beautiful release where you're allowed to just be 100% yourself. You're allowed to show up with your flaws. You're allowed to you talk about your fears in 100% judgment-free place. And I always say to people that so many of these anxieties or fears or limiting beliefs that they bring into their life or to their health and fitness program, which is kind of what I focus on with them, a lot of these are just fears and things that they feel so alone in feeling. Once you put it out there and you start to accept yourself for who you are, it becomes so much easier to move forward. So I love that you've kind of created such a great tool for that. So I was reading on your website some of the things that journaling helps people with, and I had read about relieving physical pain. Can you talk a little bit about how journaling helped you, with your MS and some of the pains or the struggles that you have gone through or did go through, and how journaling helped you with that?
Certainly. About 13, 14 years ago, I was on a drug. It was a shot that a nurse had to come once a week and give me a shot because I still didn't have the feeling back on my right side of my body. And one Thursday night, she didn't come. And 2 days, for the next 2 days after that, I felt fantastic, because when I was on the drug, 2 days afterwards, I would really lose the day, because I'd have side effects and flu symptoms and all that type of thing. So I thought, and by that time I was journaling probably for about 6 years. And I thought, wow, it's like talking about, it helped me realize that I wanted a quality of life. And everything, if you listen to everything, the doctors, the medical profession, all that type of thing, it's just like, so I just really, and I started doing more reading and seeing that, the drugs are basically for dealing with symptoms and pains and things like that. So it's just, so I decided to get on, to not, go back on drugs. So that brought out new symptoms, but there were things like, I started dialoguing with my body, and I got into so many things that, okay, I was having a pain in my hip or leg or whatever, and I would just dialogue with parts of my body and just really find out how deep-seated the things would be coming up from childhood or things that I thought that I was. It's like, I thought that or whatever. So I guess what I was saying, I really see the tie-in that what's going on inside of us is certainly way beyond just the physical. So it has really helped me. I didn't see the need for anything anything else. So like I said, and besides to be fair to the medical profession, all the drugs that were out were things that they were hoping kind of sort of that it would modulate the symptoms or the inflammation or whatever. And to me, it's just like, no, I don't think so. I think I'll just take a look at what's out there. So then it got me more into the researching, and I found that there was new information and studies about diets, and so I completely changed my diet, and I wasn't getting sinus infections and headaches and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't, got off of over-the-counter stuff about 8 years ago. So it's just, I think it's just the journaling just really helped me again, because it's connecting us to who we really are, and all the parts of us is just like, well, no, that doesn't make it doesn't make sense, or that doesn't feel right. I mean, all those things that we were never supposed to talk about how we felt, or all this. So it just, so getting into the dealing with the pain, seeing, personalizing the pain, if you will, and just seeing as a person, to be having a discussion and understanding of what was going on. It led me to unbelievable areas that I never would have thought. And it's like I said, made the changes in the diet and things like that. And just really, I'm here to attest that my attitude and my processing, and you said earlier, the fact that I don't live in fear, and I'm still not a little scared, quiet, shy girl. All that no, I've processed through that. I know more who I really am, and it's just like I don't have to keep carrying around all those old thoughts, feelings, and things that were misconstrued as a child. So I find that it's like I said, the fact that, I mean, when people talk about the flu or colds or aggravating or whatever, that my first thing is always to talk about, well, have you talked to your body about it? As opposed to spending hours talking about, well, do I use XYZ, or do I use Mucilex, or all that kind of stuff. We're just so much into that whole thing of, oh, got a pain, got to get a pill. So I just think, so I attribute that to the journaling. As I said, it's, there's just something about, it's the tie-in to me, and it's just like, and gets me into areas that, wow, I thought that, or it's like, well, isn't it interesting if I, and it definitely helped changing the diet and getting off the milk and things like that. Definitely helped my singing career. Oh my goodness! So it's just, so to answer your question, it just has an unbelievable thing, and I think it's just really a change in perspective, a change in the way we deal with ourselves. We're just so into the habit of listening to the this commercial for this drug that or whatever, and it's just like we just need to take the time for ourselves and just say, what's really going on here? And and think about it from a spiritual, emotional, physical aspect, rather than just that one little part of your your left part of your brain.
Yeah. Well, and even like you said, making changes to your diet, if you're not keeping track of that on paper, you'll forget about some of these little changes. And these little changes can actually have huge results, like you said, even with dairy. Yes. I sang in choir for years and years as, in elementary and junior high. And I know, being lactose intolerant, what a huge difference that made to my singing voice. It does, dairy causes different side effects for different people. Mm-hmm. And, if you're not keeping track of these things, and that's how I help people with their new meal plans, is really focusing on not just what you think you remember about what you ate, but you actually have a log. And so you can have something to compare it to, whether it's, working out and keeping track of like what weights you were using when you were doing what workout, and how many reps you could get in, because your brain will tell you that you can't do that. And if you look back and you go, wow, I used 15 pounds. I thought I was only using 10s. Mm-hmm. Things like that, where if you don't have a log for them, whether it's food, whether it's, weights, whether it's changes that you're making in your daily routine, your mind will trick you into thinking that you haven't done them yet, or that you don't remember how many times you could do it. And so it's such a beautiful way to keep track of these new patterns and see if you're seeing any results that are directly related to that. but also to have something to look back on and see how far you've come when you've made some of these changes. It's really a beautiful tool to gauge where you're at. So yeah, I love that. And I also love the correlation that you said between relieving physical pain, being able to sit there and track, okay, how do I actually feel? Like if you were to break it down onto a scale of 1 to 10, what does your mind tell you when you're in pain? You know, to use these things as an opportunity, because I always say to people, if they find that they cheat on their diet, you know, or their meal plan, I should call it, or if they've had kind of a more emotional relationship with food in the past, I always tell them to, if they have a craving, to just sit down and think about it. So journaling is a great option. And to say, okay, why am I craving this? What am I hoping to get from this? What's the usual outcome? You know, like just sit there and almost play it out as if you were talking to somebody. And it really does shed so much light on where that connection is with your mind and your body, because it really does have a deep connection. And once you can see your patterns, you can actually be clear to being able to break them or change them into a more healthier way.
Oh, definitely. And one of the courses that I designed is called Love Your Body. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I have them do, the people that take it, is keep a holistic food journal. Basically, keep track of what you ate, but where you were, how are you feeling, what happened in your life, all that. So people see the time, because as you know, we've just so much been raised and taught to, we've been treating our bodies as if it were a car or something that, it's, you know, breaking down again. Oh, I got to take it into the shop, or meaning getting a pill, go see a doctor, whatever, that type of thing. And it's just really, once you've done your journaling and you are in your body, then you can explore everything from, you know, like I say, and tie in the emotions and the whole, have a holistic look at yourself, that your body and the pain or what's happening, it's not something out there, it's in here, and you have the power and talents and intelligence, whatever you need to question it. And I love what you said about the dialoguing with the journal, because that's what I tell people. Your journal loves to answer questions. So to sit down and ask, okay, what's going on here? Or what am I feeling? Or, you know, why did so-and-so happen to this? Or, you know, oh my goodness, I really didn't feel good, you know, having that Indian food, or you know, those types of things. So it's just, like I said, and seeing your journal as your friend, your therapist, and someone that you can just sit down and have a heart-to-heart with.
Yeah. I love that. And I mean, it's free therapy.
Yes.
If you think about it that way, that's kind of what I've said to people about fitness for me, you know, and finding proper nutrition that works for my body it's the cheapest form of therapy that I've ever found, because you're feeding what your body actually needs to be able to perform at a level that you want it to. And you're learning about yourself in the process. You're being proactive about changing your life, which is a big confidence builder, rather than it just being, oh, I suffer from this. Oh, I can't do this. I can't accomplish this. Right. You know, even trying to teach yourself how to write with your left hand. That's huge, right? But it came from a need, and then you realize that you can actually do these things because you're being proactive and you're saying, okay, how can I help my situation right now? And, you know, even getting back to the journaling, like you said, about how your stomach doesn't agree with a certain food, life, I think, is all about finding out what works for you. And sometimes what works for you for a while won't work for you later. Like I've noticed my diet after having a baby is very different than my, you know,
yes.
my meal plans now that I've, you know, got a son and I'm busier, but, you know, your metabolism changes, and tracking those things is such a great way of even figuring out some intolerances that, again, if you're not tracking these things, it's very easy for your mind to forget what that bag of chips that you had, and then to see maybe you might have a gluten intolerance.
Yes.
And you notice that you get really, really tired, but you're not putting the two together because that's just part of your routine. So yeah, I love that that you're bringing up all of these really great points. Something else that I wanted to touch on was you've said before that that journaling helps to boost memory loss. So can you touch on that a little bit?
To me, I think it's just the fact that you're in a routine and you're constantly connecting to yourself, and again, it's just really treating yourself as far as, okay, brain, what's going on, what's happening, and not looking at it from a technical MRI XYZ type of a thing, but take a look at, talk to me, what's happening, what's all that time, and we see that it's just like, and your body will tell you what's going on, and it's just like, I think that we habitually just get into, I forgot this, we're just so into it, and journaling gives you the opportunity to sit down and just say, I'm really scared, I'm losing my mind, and just be honest and go through that process, that there are certainly organic things that are going on. But I think there's a gentleman, I'm just reading a book of his, I think he's a neurobiologist, and his book is called The Biology of Belief. And just getting into understanding our brain, how we think, our memory, and then it's inside of here, it's not what everyone says. Like I said, what's going on in your body is very different than what's going on in my body. And so as far as the helping of the memory, it's just like, let's investigate that. What's happening? Why are, rather than beating yourself up, I'm forgetting this, or or this is, what's happening here, and just exploring that with that. And then, as you know, probably from your experience, then you'll see something on the internet, or a book will pop up or whatever, and you'll be able to read that. Oh, isn't that interesting? Well, like I said, to me, I was just looking with, one of the things that I was looking at as like, because I'm now Medicare eligible and all that kind of stuff, and the whole thing society puts about getting old, all this kinds of things, and I'm just really curious. And I thought, and then that's how Bruce Lipton's book came up. It's like, tie-in of how we think, how we behave, our attitude, all those internal things affect us physically. So it's good because, and again, we think everything is a direct line, that A to B and all that kind of stuff, and but it's not. It's just we just have to do the investigation, and it's like the investigation, the curiosity, the exploration, and just really see that it's. And two, I think that come to find out more of the tie-in of nutrition, and there are things that it's not like you can or there's something other than just taking a drug. Like I said, but again, it's, to me, the journaling is just more therapy, and therapy from a physical point of view, a holistic point of view. And it's just like, it really is, as I said, it's just really fascinating to just, explore that, rather than, our continual behavior pattern of, I'm so dumb and stupid. I'm getting old. Just like, listen to what you're saying, and then have the discussion with the journal. And if you do it consistently and as a routine, then you'll get into the pattern. And it's like somehow it's magical. It opens up the energy or whatever. And as I said, the book or the resource, or you'll meet someone, they'll talk about how they were having memory challenges, and this is what they did, and how did you read this book or hear about this person, or so it's just it's really fascinating.
I completely agree with you. It allows us to to be as much of a detective into our own lives as we want to be. I've at certain points when I'm struggling with a specific thing, I'll even write down, almost like a who, where, what, why, and how, right? Like around a specific question, right? Like,
yes.
Why is this affecting me right now? What can I do to change it? Who do I think of, or what time in my life does, have I done this before? What was the outcome? What did I do? So you can really go as in depth as you want to on any specific topic, and allow yourself to work through it as honestly or as much as you want, which I think helps us because it gets us thinking about other times that we've dealt with that. And we're such an instant gratification world where I feel like people will do investigative work if it has to do with their job, or something that's going to make them money. But I think that when it comes to themselves, a lot of times we just think that that's the way that we are without asking any questions as to why we would instantly, choose this pattern whenever we're faced with the same thing. So yeah, I love that. And even just the act of writing every day. I don't know how that could not, help you with your brain stimulation or memory, because you're retaining proper spelling of words. You're not relying on spell check, and it doesn't matter if you spell them wrong, but you're constantly thinking, which, my Nana, she passed away in her 90s, and she was sharp as a whip, as a tack, or however you want to say it, right? She did crosswords every single day. She played Scrabble, she did crosswords. And I mean, this woman had an answer and a funny reply, and she was, witty and sarcastic, and she never lost that. And I think it was because every single day she did something that challenged her mind, and you could see that.
Yes.
So yeah, I love that. So can you tell us some, success stories that you've heard from, either clients of yours or, people who have bought your book and kind of left comments or sent you emails on some of the ways that journaling and through your book have kind of, changed their lives or enhanced their lives?
I would say, yes, there are many, many, many ways. And I think that's, to me, that is the most gratifying part of my job, is to hear that. It's just like, oh, I get it, I've had everything. One woman took one of my courses, I think it was probably The Love of Your Body, or one of the books, and she was able to get into, dissatisfaction with her job and life and all that kind of stuff. And on the things that she completely changed and became a certified yoga teacher. So it's just because she got into her heart and soul and what her passions were, and what yes, this is what I want to do with my life. So that was exciting. There were people find out that just the ability to just have some time and spend some time with themselves and find out that the person they think they are and who they really are two totally different people. I mean, and the whole thing of, oh, I can't write, I can't sing, I didn't do this, I had a bad childhood, But going through the process of the journaling, it's just like, oh my goodness, I've met my true self.
Yeah.
And who I am, and it's like, oh, and I can do that, and I found that I really have an interest in such and such or whatever, and then people have written in that, yes, I see now that I'm really down to my last pill that I need. I still feel I need it for whatever condition, but I've gotten off of a whole slew of drugs, so it's just and I'm feeling better. I'm eating better, sleeping better, all that type of thing. So the gamut of results that people get are just fantastic.
Well, and that they can sit there and be really proud of themselves for achieving
Yes.
that, because this is about getting more in tune with yourself and your body and listening to the cues, or being willing and courageous enough to
Yes.
really start to go deeper into, some of the areas of your life that you really want to see change in. I mean, if you tend to always attract the wrong people, maybe that's a great sign to you to sit down and journal a little bit about, okay, so what did I find attractive about these relationships? Why did I stay? What did I get out of them? And start to see if there is a pattern there that's yours, or if there's a pattern there in what you attract. It's as simple as that, where people could go to counseling waiting for someone else to come up with this answer. But
Sure.
as you're the only person that knows your body as well as you do, right? And so it's just such a beautiful opportunity to be able to try and solve some of these questions that maybe you've been waiting for someone else to come up with the answer that resonates the best with you. And sometimes you're the only one that can do that.
Definitely. I think and you mentioned the word I so much, and I think too, that is the biggest challenge with journaling, is because it is a self-full experience, and we're the whole thing about the way we were, taught and reinforced by society, that we're supposed to be out there saving the rest of the world. And that's the whole thing too, is just getting past all the fear and the crazy thing that we literally have been carrying around in the cells of our being since we were kids. And it's just really just taking the time for yourself, and it's okay. And it turns out that when you do your journaling consistently, you'll see what all the expert spiritual gurus and everyone say. Yeah, if you tend to yourself first and take care of yourself, wow, there's so much more energy, creativity, whatever, so that you can share what you've found, what your talents and everything are with the world. And if people decide to partake of what you have to offer, fine. If they don't, it's their choice.
Yeah.
So, and I think just getting that clarity of, this is me, that's the rest of the world, because we're so much living as if we are part of the world. But it's just like we get the opportunity with journaling to get back to who we are, see all our talents, possibilities, and all that type of, and see that, oh wow, by rewiring our thoughts and our feelings and all that type of thing, then we can say, oh wow, I can do this differently, I can do that such and such. Or like you said earlier about, well, it's just like what into my life. So we can be much more self-centered, and that's a good thing, because it is our life.
Yeah. Well, and I also love about journaling that it doesn't matter how old you are, what generation you grew up in, or what you're going through in your life. Like, I grew up very much in a generation where we're really sharing a lot. And, the people younger than me are, like, some people could consider it to be oversharing.
Yes.
Like, it's all social media. And that comes with its own set of issues and problems. So, you've got the ability to journal about that. You've got the ability to journal if you were raised in a generation where you never talked about your problems, and you need to have more of an outlet to do that. And I mean, at every stage in your life, there is an opportunity to journal, because no 2 days are the same. If you're retired, that is a whole different feeling. It's almost like when you become a first-time parent, your whole life becomes something totally different. And, the things that you were known for before, you're not known for anymore. And you've got different responsibilities or different things to do with your time. So it's beautiful that you could actually have a reference to go back to, and see kind of how you felt when you were going through some of these phases and stages. But journaling, you should be doing it when you're feeling great and when you're struggling, because it's a beautiful way to get that energy out, because that negative energy will make you sick. The majority of us hold our stress in our stomach, and it leads to digestive issues. It leads to lower back pain. It leads to, just different, it breeds something different than that lightness and that happiness breeds in someone. It's the same reason why we're more attracted to happy people and that positive energy that somebody has. It's that just that lightness that comes from within that I think has a lot to do with personal development. And this is a massively important form of personal development.
Definitely. Yes. And it's, and like I said, and the key is the routine.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we have such a history of the negativity, all the things that we're still, issues that are still in ourselves that still need to be processed, that we just have to trust ourselves, that we have to continually be giving the message to ourselves that we're number one, that we're important, and things like that. And the best way to do that is to have a routine.
So in saying that, what do you recommend for people who are just getting started with journaling, or who have tried journaling and feel like they weren't successful? How do you, encourage them to get going? Like, do you set kind of a time limit where they should be journaling for X amount of time for, the first week? Or do you just say, try it for 30 days and commit this amount of time to it?
I have a couple of different suggestions. The one that my most favorite one is to sit down with your journal and ask, who am I today? And set a time period, say, a page, 5 minutes, whatever, and then just free write. And I think that's what, or go the morning pages routine. Several people, having read my book, Journaling Powers, since that's how I got started, they said, oh, that's really, it's not, you just sit down and you're right. You don't think of it, so you just do it. So it's again, it just gets back to what do you feel like, and writing it down, be it the morning pages or just asking it a question and then just writing. Just the whole process of writing will start giving you some clues as to what you feel like doing.
And being honest, like you said that, and immediately I kind of go, "Ooh, I like that. Who am I?" Because I know some days I would sit there and say, I'm a stressed out mess.
Yes.
and we need to say that stuff. I know there's been a few times where I've, gone to write things down like that, and I almost feel like I need to edit it, because that's not, this happy, healthy coach inside of me. But you can't always feel fantastic. You can't always feel on top of it. You have to have those kind of off days to kind of reassess your life and say, okay, what worked today? What didn't work? How could I approach this differently next time? And by being honest about that, you'll realize that those bad days or those low days are nothing compared to how they were before. Mm-hmm. And nothing compared to how they were before you were willing to be honest about them and try and kind of figure out what it was that triggered you. It could be that my little guy and I didn't get enough sleep last night. Could be that we're a little bit too busy. I had him in, doing 4 activities a week, and I had them on, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And so I kind of thought, okay, this was a really busy schedule. So now I'm trying to still do 4 activities a week, but I'm putting 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Thursday. So now we've got, the Monday and the Friday that have those flex days. And it's saying, okay, if that kind of felt like it was a little stressful, how does this feel? It's the same thing, only I've just changed how my schedule is. But,
True.
if you're not looking at what maybe felt a little overwhelming, then you can't make those small changes that could end up being the perfect mix for you.
True.
Yeah. So yeah,
the honesty is the key, and you just have to show up as you are. It's like, and as I said, I always say that your journal is a come as you are party. If it's like if you're in your pajamas or whatever, it's just like, and the key is to do it and do it honestly. And it's like, because again, it's a change of behavior, because we're so used to, our mind and the trickster and telling us and fooling us and doing all those types of things. So I just think that, again, it's just really just trust yourself and just go for it.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to get to know yourself. I think so many people now are, realizing that there's a lot of times in life where they filter themselves or make themselves into chameleons, whether it's at work or whether it's, some of the friends that you're realizing that maybe you're outgrowing, but you're still trying to fit in with them. And, life is all about growing and changing. And sometimes we need to make new friends or try out a different career. And the more in tune you are with yourself, and the more that you get to a point where you accept yourself for your flaws and your quirks and the things that you might just be getting into. People might just be thinking about journaling, but they're really scared because they don't know how to, start, or they've tried it before and they fail.
Or they don't have time, or the whole list of, but it's just basically that F word, FEAR,
Yeah. And so, this is all about just saying, hey, I'm going to try this. The worst thing that can happen is that you get to know yourself better, and that you accept yourself a little bit more. That is literally the worst thing that can happen. You can journal for 5 minutes a day. You could journal for 2 minutes. You could just journal whatever, like you said, who am I today? It could be as quick or as in-depth as you want. So yeah, I love that this is all about, accepting who you are, where you want to be, and really creating the life that you want and getting happier.
Yes.
So can you tell us what is your biggest source of happiness in your life right now, and how much time and energy do you spend on it?
My biggest source of happiness is my singing. Okay. I love music, and that was a fantastic. One of the first things that came up when I started journaling was that I remembered that I always wanted to be a singer. And there was this thing with my mother. She came up with the American Songbook, so I knew all the songs of the Frank Sinatra era and all that type of thing. So I always just loved music, and the running thing with my mother was I always used to say, "Oh, Mom, I wish I could sing," and she said, "Oh, honey, I wish you could too." So, but it was just so interesting to me to talk about synchronicity, that in addition to the left-handedness, but the thing that I really wanted to learn how to sing. And again, the universe was obviously working for me, because about a month later, I saw a thing in my local newspaper, and a brag that there's a school in the next town over that caters to children, a music school that caters to children of all ages. And I started taking lessons. So it's just, and then I got into after a couple of years, I thought, oh, I'm ready to record. And I got connected with a gentleman, and we've been musical partners now for about 10 years. I'm working on my 4th album. So I said, and I, in addition, have been taking lessons all the time. And again, I had been with a really good teacher who got me into my body and got me into the basics. But I thought, it's time to move on to something else. And again, another topic for the journaling. And then come I was on Facebook one day and I found this gentleman who runs one of the biggest music vocal coaching schools in New York. And he's all about the body and retraining the muscles and unstressing the muscles and things. It's not about, whether it's a D minor or F flat, the theory type. No, it's all about, again, getting into your body and knowing your body and knowing that now I have a chest voice and I can sing, the high notes with my chest voice. I don't have to go into my head. I mean, it's fascinating. So we're continuing. So I would say definitely my singing and my music is definitely the number one on my list of happiness at this point.
That's fantastic. And I love that it, came to you and started because of journaling.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's amazing that you found kind of your secret ingredient to what really replenishes your energy and fills your soul and, gives you that inner happiness that allows you to still give to everyone else. Right. Yeah. That's just absolutely beautiful. I love that story. So what else are you working on right now? And what is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, they can find me at Create Write, WRITE now.com. And I'm working on, I'm revising one of my old courses, and it's called Kick Writer's Block in 7 days. So I'm working on revising that. And I've just started on my second book. It's called Heal Yourself, How Journaling Power Gets and Keeps You Healthy. And it's going to be geared towards talking about self-management and, getting into understanding the discovery part, the inner critics and all that type of thing, but basically showing how through journaling you have the ability to manage yourself, create for yourself, decide what you want, and manage your life into the life that you want to live.
Wow, that's fantastic. I can't wait for that one. So now I had just signed up for it. You have a free 5-day, correct?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yes, it's on my homepage. It's a free journaling power toolkit. You get a coupon for 20% off of any one of my, I think I'm up now to about 20 courses in my store. You get my monthly newsletter for free. And there's a 5-day email course that will introduce people to what journaling really is about. I think so many people are so focused on, oh, do I do it in the morning? How do I do it? I'm not, all those types of things. It has nothing to, the best thing the thing about it is that it really gets people to experience what journaling is all about and, what it can do for you.
Yeah. And that there's no right or wrong way. The only wrong way is to not do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, and I think, and people, that's what, in the feedback I've gotten from people who've taken, oh, so that's what journaling is all about. And he said, oh, I can see how this is, because I have a client, I said, yes, I was I've been taking meditation. My meditation teacher kept saying, oh, you need, start get into journaling and all that kind of stuff. And he said that he wanted to get more into his spirituality. He's a Christian. He wants to, work on his faith and things like that. And he said, oh my gosh, it just got me so deep into myself so quickly. This is fantastic. So,
yeah.
Like I said, and I think it'll be a fantastic aha experience for people. And then, like I said, some people say, oh, as one of my, and in fact, it's interesting. He's a friend. He's another journal coach. And he said, oh my goodness, Mary, he said, this is not a walk in the park. I said, no, this is what journaling power. That's why I call my service journaling power. I said that it's all about you, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I usually always try and add some gratitude list to my journaling. And I've just found it's been just such a huge life shift for me to make sure that you've got just that focus on what's happened during your day, and you almost keep stock of those throughout the day. So you tend to focus more on positivity. I actually heard Tony Robbins in one of his speeches today said something, so I'm just going to read it off. And it says, when you change your expectations from expectations to appreciation, your whole life will change. And I love that, because it's taking off that pressure of having expectations, and you just focus on appreciating, whether it's appreciating yourself, where you're at, where you want to be, instead of just focusing all the time on what you should be doing or how you should be feeling. And I love that, because it really is true. When you just make that subtle shift and really just appreciate where you're at, what has gotten you here, where you're going to go, and stop putting that pressure to be perfect on yourself, it really will change your whole life. So yeah, I just thought that I would share that.
Right.
So thank you so
much. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. This is such an important topic to me, just because I've seen the benefits of journaling in myself and in so many people that I know. And I really just wanted to give people a place to go, like your website or your book or your free 5-day or your paid courses, and just show them that that this new part of their life doesn't need to be scary. They can devote as much time and energy as they decide to. But the big thing is that they start doing it, because the only way to get to that really true, soul kind of happiness is by accepting yourself first and foremost, and by being true to who you are and living a really authentic life where you're making choices and decisions that are based on your values. And so I encourage everybody to go to your site, to check out your work, and to start journaling and create the life that they want every day.
That sounds fantastic. As I always say, right on.
I love that too. So thank you so much, Mary, for joining us today, and I look forward to working on your 5-day and to checking out your book.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Sarah. Great meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.